Hello, it's the NFLExporter Ty Goodman, and we're talking the mid-season report for the NFL 2013-14 season. And we're talking now about the AFC South. In first place is the Indianapolis Colts at 6-2. The Colts have been led by second-year starter Andrew Luck, the #1 overall pick in last year's draft. By no means has Luck had a sophomore slump. He's continued to excel, doing a great job running the Indianapolis offense as the running game has continued to sputter. So Luck has led the charge, been very effective. We can see this young man is very tough, very heady. The offensive line is shaky right now. They definitely want to do a much better job of protecting Luck, but he is a solid young player. He's actually already one of the best quarterbacks in the AFC, and you can't say enough about the job that Luck has done coming in, taking the bull by the horns and learning this offense and really being a motivator and a leader for this team. The passing game has took a huge hit. All-pro wide receiver Reggie Wayne was lost for the season through the midway point, and so that's a big loss. Now he'll be relying on his second-year target, T.Y. Hilton, who has speed as his calling card. He also has second-year tight end Kobe Fleener. Outside of that, Darius Hayward-Bay is another receiver, kind of improving. The guy was also shown to be injury-prone, so we'll see how that plays out. They did make a move to get Trent Richardson, but that move has not been impactful thus far. Richardson has really struggled this season to run the ball, which is a major surprise considering the type of rookie season that he had. So I don't know if this move will pan out this season. I know they're going to continue to try to feed him the ball, but Donald Brown's a veteran who's been there, and they are at this point going to go with the most effective players. So we'll see how that plays out. Ultimately, it's going to fall on Andrew Luck if he can lead this offense, if that running game can't find any way to get it together. On the defensive side of the ball, I really like what I see going on. Linebackers, Eric Walden, Pat Anger, these are guys who are very athletic. Ken Walden is more of a pass rush. Anger can get back and play in the secondary or play tight ends, the flats. He's a versatile in that way. Then you obviously have All-Pro Robert Mathis bringing the heat off the edge, still one of the best in the business at pass rushing. He's always making things difficult for opposing quarterbacks. The secondary is pretty tough. I really like the safeties. Antoine Bethea has always been one of the best in the business. You add in a LaRon Landry, who's an enforcer, a guy who's known for heavy hitting. He's athletic as well. So I really like that combination. I think the Colts have a underrated defense, and will continue to do a solid job. Ultimately, the Colts, are a team. I like winning this division right now at 11-5. It could be 10-6, but I think they'll be able to clear the hurdles, bring it in at 11-5, and be vying for home field position along with Denver and New England. Moving over to the Tennessee Titans at 4-4. The Titans have really struggled to establish the running game. Chris Johnson has pretty much been a disappointment this year, aside from running for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns last week against the Rams. Prior to that, Johnson had been having a really difficult time running the football. He only had 2 games this year in which he scored, and those were on receiving touchdowns. So not to take any credit away from Chris, but as far as running the ball goes, he's been very ineffective. I'm quite sure he's hoping, as well as everybody, that maybe that game last week was a breakout. He can get the wheels turning, because he really makes life easier on this offense, who has a young quarterback in Jake Locker and a young wide receiver in Kendall Wright, who's only in his second year, as their primary targets. You do still have veteran Nate Washington there as a target as well. And Jake Locker has actually played pretty decent. He doesn't have the best arm, but then again, he doesn't have the best targets. And when the running game isn't proven effective, he's not ready yet to take all the weight on his shoulders. As far as the defense is concerned, very solid. The Titans are very underrated on defense, but you have players like Derek Morgan at defensive end, a draft pick from Georgia Tech a couple years ago, rounded into form. Guys like Zach Brown and Akeem Ayers at the linebackers, very effective young players. Then a very tough secondary. Guys like Michael Griffin at safety. Bringing over Bernard Pollard was another key move. He's a veteran guy, brings a lot of attitude and leadership to that defense. So I really like the Titans defense. They play very solid and really keep the Titans in a lot of games. Overall, I see them coming in at 9-7. I'm not quite sure if that will be good enough to win it. Again, this is a young team, and it really depends on how the games go. But I do see the Titans probably being right on the outside looking in come playoff time. Next in line, we have the Houston Texans at 2-6. The Texans, this year just isn't it. They suffered all type of injuries, no cohesion. On the offensive side of the football, quarterback Matt Schaub was throwing interception after interception. It was ran back for touchdowns. The crowd began to boo him. He got injured. It really just was a bad situation. His confidence was really shot. Arian Foster's been battling injuries all year. The running game hasn't been as explosive. Ben Tate is a good backup running back, but he's not Arian Foster. And then in the passing game, Andre Johnson's in tip-top form. Rookie DeAndre Hopkins looks good. Unfortunately, tight end Owen Daniel went down with an injury, so he's out for a year. So a couple veterans who are usually there in Matt Schaub and Owen Daniels not leading up to charge. Case Keenum looks to be the quarterback now leading into the future, so I don't know how this thing is going to shake out with Schaub. And as far as Foster is concerned, he does not look like he'll be playing this Sunday, so I'm not quite sure how the Texans offense is really going to find their groove when their bread and butter things aren't there. On the defensive side of the ball, you do still have J.J. Watt. Brian Cushing unfortunately suffered another season-ending injury. Our prayers go out to this guy. I mean, this is about the third or fourth, ACL, MCL, that area tear is very unfortunate. He's a very good young player, just got a new contract. Jonathan Joseph is a guy that I'm starting to look at now. He came over there, and in his first year as Houston was more of a shutdown cornerback. But yeah, last year I seen a slight slide, and this year I'm seeing even another step taken back. He's still a very good corner, but I'm starting to feel his reputation from the first year in Houston is really preceding his play on the field right now. And then obviously Ed Reed coming over from the Ravens hasn't had the impact that you would think he would have on the defense. He battled injuries coming into the season as well. At 2-6, the Texans can pretty much toss it in for the year. I think they'll probably be around 6-10, 7-9, and it'll be real interesting to see where this franchise is going to go moving forward. Last but not least, the Jacksonville Jaguars at 0-8. Not much to talk about. I'm going to try to keep it modest here on the Jaguars. Again, Blaine Gabbert proven not to be the guy. Not a lottery pick to come to fruition. The offensive line is in shambles. Unfortunately, lost tackle Luke Jokel, stud lineman coming out from Texas A&M. They lost him for the season early, and that kind of just been a downward spiral. One of their most talented, probably their most talented player on offense right now, Justin Blackmon, is suspended for the year due to illegal substance use again. We really, again, our hopes and prayers go out to that young man that he can get his life together. Cecil Short's been battling injuries. Maurice Jones-Drew has proved to be ineffective. It's just not a good offensive team. And then on the defensive side of the ball, there's really not much to talk about. Paul Zlonski plays pretty hard. I have a couple young players. Alou, the defensive tackle, plays hard, but just not able to withstand. This is just not a good team overall. The only question that remains here is, will the Jaguars even win a game this year? I'm quite sure they'll find a way, but if not, what an embarrassment it'll be. You really scratch your head wondering, where does this franchise go? Where does this franchise go moving forward from here? All right, that wraps up the AFC South. NFL exporter Ty Goodman will be back to wrap things up with the AFC North.